What is up, Misfits and Moonbasers? It's your boy Ray Recall coming at you with another video review, and today we're going to be continuing with the theme for this month of Shockwave Month, and we're going to be looking at a big figure. So today, without much further ado, we're going to be looking at the, Cloud9 W-01 Quakeblast. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be doing another third-party review. And since I actually do happen to have the box for this figure, let's take a look at it. It's really nice artwork here. G1 style, so it is masterpiece scale. See, master scale. Pretty nice artwork on the box. Flip it over to the back. There is a bit of a bio there. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and pause. And you just get some product shots back there. And then if you come to the front of the box, there is a Velcro thing that will hold the window box flap in place. You get to see a nice kind of tech spec blueprint render of the figure, as well as the figure proper whenever it is displayed. So that is pretty nice, but you don't buy a figure for the box, you buy a figure for the figure. And so let us go right ahead into the accessories. I'm just messing with you. He does come with a few things. He comes with, just getting these out of the way for now, he does come with a set of transparent hands. I think they're both right hands though. There's a thumb. There's the thumb. Yeah, so he comes with two pairs of right hands for some reason. In fact, whenever he comes packaged with a right hand. That's clear. He does come with a opaque right hand as well, and that's actually the one that I have on the figure right now. He comes with a replacement barrel for his gun hand, and I'm guessing that's just because since this is clear plastic, it may have had a tendency to break or something like that. I don't know. I haven't needed to replace mine, so I don't know, but it's nice that they gave you a spare just in case, I guess. I guess that's the same thing for these transparent hands, because sometimes the transparent plastic ball joints happen to break or whatever, so that might be a thing. He does come with two hoses. This is the shorter one, and I have the longer one installed. The thing about these is that I think that you're supposed to be able to swap them out between, if you want a more between whether you want them to be more G1 toy accurate, G1 show accurate, accurate? What the hell was that? Accurate, and if you want it to look more natural between the robot and alt mode. And I'll show off a little bit of that in just a second. And he does come with one more thing, but we'll leave that to the side for the moment. Let's go ahead and bring in Quakeblast in his alt mode. And yes, this is a very large alt mode. Just so you can see what I'm talking about though. Like, this is the hose that I have in there, and it does look kind of long and unwieldy. You can put in this replacement hose just to show you what it looks like, and it does look much, it kind of condenses it down, makes it look less long and awkward. But yeah, so kind of hard to do this at arm's length, so I'm going to put the camera down and focus on the figure. Go ahead, up the brightness a little bit. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, I can barely even get him all in frame here. Let me move back my camera setup. There we go. But as you can see, he is quite a large Shockwave figure. Very nicely done. He has some die cast. These silver parts right here are die cast metal, as well as what will become his robot mode feet are also die cast. So he does have a nice heft to him, and it is pretty well balanced too. It's got the viewfinder right there in transparent purple plastic, and he does have transparent purple plastic for the actual gun barrel interior. Now I don't have batteries for this guy, but he does have 3 light up functions. One of them is actually in the gun barrel. It's very hard to find the type of batteries that you need. They're like super tiny little watch cell batteries. But I have seen reviews of this guy, and I've seen pictures where the light is on and it just glows. It looks very cool whenever it's on. Another cool thing about this is that, speaking of gun barrels, he actually has 2 different gun barrels. So you have this one right here, which looks nice, but you can see that there's a bunch of little panel lines and stuff, and that's because in order to get it off, you have to split it down the middle, which is a little bit tricky to do at arm's length. There we go. And this actually will fold up and become his backpack in robot mode, which is nice that you have that option. You know, that way, you know, it's not necessarily so much, it is parts forming, but you know, at least it still integrates into the robot, which is nice. However, some people might not like that the way that the gun barrel looked on the figure. So he does come with another gun barrel piece that is one solid piece of that same transparent purple plastic, just painted on the outside with silver. And this will just clip on. Now, I don't personally like this one too much because it is... Here, let me just clip this on here real quick for you. Yeah, it's kind of a pain to clip on, especially a pain to get off. Like, as you can see, I haven't even fully clipped it on yet. But it does look more G1 accurate, and whenever that light lights up, the whole thing just glows this bright color. So it does really good with light diffusion and just making the whole thing look like it's supercharged. Nice. It's an option that they give you, and I'm glad that they do it, but oh goodness, come on. There we go. That might be why they have a spare one of these, because this is so hard to get on there. And you have to line up the barrel right there into that little hole in the center, and yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with that too much. With this one, it just wraps around and doesn't actually have to line up with this, so less chance of breaking that, which is why I go with this. But yeah, and then you also have, you know, you can even have them aimed like this. Now for the light up function, you do have to take off whichever barrel you're using. You have to remove that, push that to the side, and then kind of split these arms. And you can see there's a little screw hole right there. And then this little square right there, that's actually the button. Let's see if I can get that pushed in. Yeah, see how it kind of stays depressed whenever you push it, and then like that. But that's how you activate the light up feature. Yeah. But yeah, so that was that's basically Shockwave's alt mode. He does have a trigger. It doesn't actually click or anything like that. It's not spring loaded. It's just a place to rest your finger. But that is an option that you can do. And then one final option for this mode is if you come here, open up these little panels, which is obviously going to be his robot mode chest. You can open this up, and right here, these 2 screws cover another battery pack, And this button right here activates another light up gimmick, and there's an LED in there, and that just glows as well. So that's just a display option if you want to go with it. Again, options are good. Yep. Oh, and I already got the barrel off, but just to give you an idea of how big this guy is, here's Leader Class Shockwave. So yeah, he is quite a big gun. And I mean, I have huge monkey hands, and he still fits quite comfortably in hand in gun mode. So this is a really nice, and also it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or anything like that. Nothing's really flimsy. Whenever I have the gun barrel on there, even that's very secure and solid. It's super secure and solid with this thing, like scary tight. So that's why I never use it. But yep, that's pretty much it for this mode. So let's go ahead and get down to the transformation. So like I said, you can just take the barrel off and get it into its little box configuration where you just flip it basically inside out. One thing to note is that there are 2 peg holes here and 2 little pegs. Just make sure that that's flush and set it to the side. Now to transform the rest of the robot. So let's see, where should we start? Start with the bottom. Bottom's going to be the easiest. So you're going to want to take this panel, lift it up, and just rest it just like that for now. That'll get things out of the way. Take these panels, open them up, get them out of the way. Then you take the handle section, and that'll help untab this armature right here. You don't want to overflex it because there is a point where it will stop, but it's just enough that you get this little armature out. Go ahead and take the trigger, flip that up, take this armature, and push it all the way down like so. Next, you're going to want to split the handle. Very easy and simple. And then split the back of the gun like so. Next, you're going to want to take these sections here and extend them like so. There we go. And then rotating at this point on the thighs, you can see they are slightly offset. If you just have this in robot mode and when you're converting it, you rotate below the knee instead of at the thigh, it's not going to work whenever you try to transform it, because you can see it is offset for gun mode, and whenever you rotate it around for robot mode, it's going to be properly flush. So you want it to be offset whenever you're going into gun mode. Just rotate that around. And now we can work on the legs. The legs, let's see. This is a very tricky part because this hinge right here, not so much this part, but this part right here is stupidly tight. And it's on kind of like a, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's the way the plastic is sculpted, it is very stupidly tight. So whatever you do, whenever you transform it, don't try to shove from here. Try to put all the force as much as you can near the base of this hinge. Otherwise, if you push from here, you will snap the plastic on that. I'm not saying that from experience. I'm just saying that because I can feel the plastic tolerances on this. And yeah, so you want to be very careful with that whenever you're transforming it. Now, I will say there are a lot of locking points here. There's 1, 2, 3 slots and 1, 2, 3 tabs. Whenever you close this up, it will tab in if you have it aligned properly. Like I do not. What is going on? What is happening? There we go. Now, whenever you have it tabbed in, like so, it does negate the ankle pivot. So if you want the ankle pivot, you're going to have to untab that from the foot, but I just leave it tabbed in because it works fine. Next, come to this little panel, open it up, and as you can see, it's on this little T-hinge that's on a little slider. You want to slide this all the way over here, and close that up, and it'll tab into place, and that'll tap into place, creating a very nice, solid leg. Then you're going to come down here, extend this out, make this flush, that'll form the toe, and then there's a little tab right here you can use to get your fingernail, and that'll flip out the heel, and there you have a foot all done. Now this piece right here is a little bit loose. Again, it's die cast metal and die cast metal and die cast metal, but honestly, if you have them flush on the table or whatever, it's not going to go anywhere. So, and then you just want to do the same thing to the other side, making sure to be very careful with those joints. And the first time I did this, I was so scared to work that joint. I almost never wanted to do it, but it has since gotten a little bit more manageable. Not that the joint has gotten looser, but it's just I've gotten more familiar with how the stuff goes together. So, like, by the way, if you want another example, there you go. You have to untab the this armor plate in order to get that ankle tilt. There we go. Have him standing up. Put those little side skirts to the side, and that panel flush along his butt. And now I'm going to have to see if I can find another books to raise up the camera. So one moment. Okay, there we go. Had to use the figure box in order to get the camera up here, because this guy is pretty big. Okay, so where was I? Okay, yeah, upper body. So in order to transform the upper body, you want to take this transparent piece and gently, again, transparent plastic is fragile, slide it back over the arm. At this point, you want to come over to these panels right here, open them up, and drop down the chest plate. Split the arms and have them kind of like in this position. And then the neck is on like a slider and a hinge, so you want to slide it forward, like so. Rotate it up, and then slide it back, like so. And then whenever you tab in the chest, there's this slot and a tab. So you just want to make sure everything is lined up, and the chest will click into place. Then you just come to the sides, close those up. And then finally, you just bring down the arms, open up this arm, flip out the fist, close that panel, orient the fist properly, and then there you have Quakeblast in his robot mode, and he looks quite impressive. He looks very G1 Shockwave. I absolutely love this figure to death. Get a good look on that face sculpt. Very simple, but it is very cool. On the back of his head, there are these two screws. You remove that. That's another battery panel. You can fit tiny little batteries in there. And on the top of his head, this little first part of his crest is actually the button. And that will help have his eye glow amazingly bright. So, with the eye, the chest, and the gun glow all together, looks super cool indeed. Now there, as you can see, this is why. Now for this is actually why I have the longer hose attached, because it looks more natural to be going over the shoulder like this to attach. You do have the option, if you want, to plug it into the bottom of the gun arm, so it looks more G1 accurate when he's in robot mode. I like the fact that it looks really cool in gun mode to have the coil going onto the top, but you know, it is your personal preference. This is another instance where the shorter coil would have been better for the to go behind the back, so there's a reason why they gave you two. Oh, and I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but the coil is actually just a long piece of rubberized plastic. And it is very difficult to get it into the actual holes because this tiny little groove that you can't even see because my camera won't focus, but that first little groove right there is actually what plugs it in, and there's really no way to get it in there without forcing it. Because even though this hose is pretty flexible, trying to get it into the ports, especially on the back and on the arms, it's just a hassle. It's something that you only probably want to do once, so that is a little bit unfortunate that it's not just like a little peg system, kind of like the peg right here where it's quick release, but it is what it is. And I don't mind it. And, oh, yeah, there's one other thing you can do in this mode. So, as you can see, he looks pretty good. Very clean back. But, if you want to integrate the backpack, real simple. There's this tab right here, which will go into this slot right there. And as you can see right here, there's actually kind of like an outline that'll go into the top right here. So the easiest way that I do it is I just kind of fold it out like that, plug it into the back, and then just kind of finagle stuff until it locks in place. And it is just a very soft lock. It doesn't really tab in too secure at this point. It just kind of helps it keep its square shape without moving around too much. But yeah, there is Quakeblast. Now, articulation-wise, his head is on a ball joint, so you do get some wiggly-waggly. Shoulders are on ratchets at that point and that point. Arms can do a full 360. We do have a bicep rotation, a double elbow bend that can get pretty deep. And the same articulation on both arms. The gun has no articulation, but this hand does have a rotation here, as well as having individually articulated fingers. There's a ball joint at the base and a hinge at the first knuckle, and then the thumb has a ball joint at the base, hinge. So you can get some pretty decent hand poses with this guy. The thumb ball joint is a little bit loose, but I don't personally mind it. You can have him doing the iconic Megatron or Cybertron shall remain as you left it salute, so that's pretty cool. Oh, almost forgot a piece of part of transformation. The waist actually extends, and that actually does give him a waist rotation. Forgot that piece of transformation. Legs can go forward about that far on a nice ratchet, back about that far. Side skirt moves out so you can get a full extension. Rotation at the thigh. Deep 90-degree bend at the knee. Rotation above just below the knee. And then, of course, the toe joints are articulated, and you do have that ankle tilt. So you can get him pretty well posed, but I personally think he just looks awesome. Just like that. That's how I have him on my shelf, so. Yeah. So without much further ado, for some size comparisons, here he is with a mainline deluxe Earthrise wheeljack. So tiny. Here he is with Siege Shockwave. And here he is with the, come on, straighten out. Straighten out, come on. There we go. Studio Series Leader Shockwave. So yeah, this guy's huge. And I don't have my my Masterpiece Wheeljack out of storage, so I can't really show you how he scales with Masterpiece figures, but he does scale very well with the Masterpiece line. So, in fact, he's so good at being a Masterpiece stand-in that I actually sold my official Takara Masterpiece Shockwave in favor of keeping this guy. I like the deeper purple on him. I like the fact that he had a bit more weight to him, a bit more substance. He was a little bit on the chunky side, not as G1 accurate as the Masterpiece figure. And his hose, I do prefer the Masterpiece Shockwave's hose because it's actually a string that has a metal spring wrapped around it. And that is a very good design, but I personally like this guy more. So if you can pick this guy up, don't get him for scalper price, but for about maybe like 100, 110, I'd say that would be as much as you want to pay for this guy. He is very good quality. I have the only nitpicks about him I have would probably be just the loose ball joint in the thumb, and the fact that the hoses are very, very difficult to get in there. It's not a swap in, swap out situation. It's like you pick one and you stick with it. But other than that, I absolutely love Quakeblast. He is, until this guy came along, he was my primary Shockwave. And that's the thing I really like about the Siege Shockwave is that this feels like Masterpiece level quality and engineering at a very reasonable price point. He is a bit smaller, he is a little bit simpler, and he doesn't have any die cast or anything like that. But you get a lot of bang for your buck with this guy. And I know I'm probably going to say that again in the official review for this guy, which is coming at the end of the month. But yeah, I do. If you can't find a Masterpiece or Masterpiece substitute, Siege Shockwave is the way to go. But if you want your Masterpiece line to have a Shockwave, in my personal opinion, Cloud9's Quakeblast is the way to go. So take that opinion for what you will. So anyway, I think that about wraps it up for now. So thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cloud9 Quakeblast. I have been Ray Recall. Y'all have been awesome. Thank you so much for sticking with me through Shockwave Week or Shockwave Month so far. And keep an eye out next week for more video reviews. I will see you there. So thank you so much for watching. Peace.